question. They were asking the question. On tape, I always thought that was a strength in his game. So to see him throw accurately on the run with touch, being able to change up the velocities, you know, some guys can only throw fastballs, some guys can only throw touch. He showed that he's able to change up velocities and throw accurately, running both sides, you know, which I thought probably his throws were, I mean, if you want to nitpick, he missed a couple of deep balls. His throws were a little bit more accurate to the right than the left, but overall it was a really, really strong performance. And you forget, I mean, I don't care how many catches or drops or anything like that. I see a guy that clearly has better raw physical tools to work with and is progressing towards a more finished product than what I saw from Bridgewater earlier in the week.
So overall, if you're an NFL team walking away today, you're
if I'm absolutely taking a quarterback, I'm taking Blake Bortles.
Is there anything that a pro day gives you that you don't get from a combine or anything?
Well, this week is, I don't want to say it's unique, but just being able to go back-to-back in a 48-hour period and see both of them throw live.
Yeah.
You know, that helps. Just to, because again, on tape, there's not a huge difference in terms of arm strength, and that's why the NFL teams, you know, they have the access that they have, and they should, and they're going to go, if you're thinking about drafting Bridgewater, you're going to bring him through you're going to fly back down, and you're going to work him out. And so if he had a bad day or if something was wrong or it was really the glove, you know, the glove conspiracy now, I mean, whatever it is, I just, you'll figure it out. Or if these are the products that you're evaluating, then I think it's fairly obvious with the arm strength and the way the ball comes off the two quarterbacks' hands that the Bortles is superior in that department when throwing the ball, you know, 20 yards plus down the field.
The team send to these kind of things?
No, zero. I mean, Shanahan drafted Cutler, and I don't think he ever spoke to him before. So, I mean, the teams play games. The Browns haven't gone to any of them. You know, most guys have been at both, you know, in terms of the 5 teams in the top 8. So I completely 100% ignore it.
Yeah.
What about stock on how, like, you know, obviously you watch a lot of tape. How much stock do pro days count?
Very little. I mean, the tape is about 80%, but when you have little specific questions, like we had in terms of, you know, Bortles and progressing with some of his mechanical issues, and you come and you get the answer, and it's not a Tim Tebow restructuring of, you know, I mean, not even in the same ballpark. It's just little things. Is he cognizant of it? Is he willing to work on it? Is he coachable? And how natural does he now look with better balance in his base? So I mean, he really, as much as I can remember in terms of having very specific questions and then answering those specific questions, I think he nailed it. I really do.
If I remember correctly, you had Blake number 1 in your most recent NFL mock draft.
Yep.
Anything today change your mind whatsoever?
Nothing. No. I mean, the rankings in terms of quarterbacks, I had almost identical grades, and I would be surprised at the end of the day if I don't wind up with Bortles ahead of Bridgewater. But the process isn't quite complete yet, you know. Very, very close. But with mock drafts, who knows? That can be off of who I'm talking to and what information I'm getting and who's lying to me that day.
Did you know, I mean, obviously you knew something, but did you know much about UCF, like 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah. I didn't know much about him in September. You know, we're coming into September. He wasn't even, you know, you get a national list of all the seniors, and then we try to compile 40, 45 underclassmen to evaluate, and with the goal of it being the 40, 45 of the guys that wind up being in the upcoming draft, just to get ahead of them, especially with so many guys now. But he wasn't on that list. I mean, I started watching his tape in September, and didn't really write up an evaluation based off of a minimum of 4 games is the requirement for me at least, and I didn't get that done until almost late October, almost November. So that's how late in the process it's been. That's why I asked him earlier. I mean, how's your life changing in like 6-8 months?
Was there a specific moment this season that you thought this guy not only could be an NFL quarterback, but could be a very high draft pick? Was there a certain time that you thought?
I mean, the skill set was there. So the specific time for me was when I actually sat down with the coach copy tape and watching it. But the moment where I thought, you know what, this guy's got something, was when he went 6 for 8 in that final drive against Louisville. in the game-winning draft. You know, you're going up against the guy that everyone said is the first quarterback in the draft. You're going up against a program that just beat Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and to kind of have the moxie that he showed in that game and to carry his team and deliver the way he did. That was the first moment that I thought to myself, he's got the clutch gene, which most of the great ones have to have.
His stats were pretty similar from junior to senior. Did you see a big progression there?
I haven't studied his statistics from like last year. The one statistic I've looked at is the under duress, or I call them pressure drops. You know, and I haven't compared last year to this year. I've just this year, but this year he's the best of all the quarterbacks I've evaluated.
Did you get a chance to? I'm sorry. Let's talk about UCF's program as a whole. I mean, is this the first time you've been here on campus at UCF?
You know, the first time I was here at UCF, I was a sophomore in college, and it was on spring break. So this is the first time professionally I've been on the UCF campus. Yes. As a whole, I mean, obviously, I would think this is huge for recruiting to have a quarterback we're talking about as a potential #1 overall pick. But winning is not new. You know, I mean, UCF has been winning. I don't know all the numbers, you would know better than me, but the games won the last few years, and double-digit wins, and the way they've been able to do it without elite talent from a pro perspective has been impressive. And that's kind of, you see a lot of programs. Baylor, ironically, is kind of one of those programs that you saw. They had to find a way to win first, and then as you win, you start to get attention and recruit better and all of that. So I would think that this year would be one of those moments, and this draft process would be huge for recruiting too.
When you look at a guy like Blake, obviously he wasn't on too many people's radar.